Hola Madridistas, ¿cómo estás? I wish Javier was here. But yeah, welcome everyone to another episode. We are going to be previewing the Cadiz game. It is just a dead rubber game, but we have to get the 3 points just to hold on to our second place. Farooq, do you share the same sentiment? Like, do you value the second place or the third place?
I mean, most likely there is a monetary gift for that, but other than that, for me, honestly, being second and third at this point doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, you're still a loser, man, so it doesn't matter if you're, the first loser or the second loser. I don't know.
The first, I mean, it's like, okay. In football, yeah, everyone except the first is a loser in the league. But yeah,
Yeah, so
man,
that's
we only have like 10 games to go, and things are like pretty much shaping up in La Liga. There's doom and gloom for a lot of teams, and there's a lot of hope for some teams as well. We'll get into that, but there's Dennis in the chat already. He says, "Good evening, Madridistas. Tomorrow's game will not be fun to watch. I see us shithousing a 2-0 victory at the end, though." In football, yeah.
I see. Well, I don't share your sentiment, Dennis. Honestly, I think tomorrow might be quite an interesting game, honestly, because I feel like Cadiz might feel that I don't know what's going to happen, but the point is, with Carlos saying Hazard is in good form, he might, get game time and stuff like that. So I'm just in my head already. I'm seeing, something as a game similar to that against Villarreal, but right now there is no Vini, no Cross, and all those guys. So I think it's going to be, we don't necessarily have a B team, but we have, a group of players that are just, on the outside looking in. So I feel like it's going to be a game for them. Hence, because of that, I think, Cadiz is going to, fancy their chances as well, and they're at home. So it's just going to be a game of back and forth. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a game full of mistakes, but those mistakes will lead to the fun. You understand? It's not going to be a moment of individual brilliance or anything like that. But it's just going to be a game that's full of, mistakes, but those mistakes will be eventually lead to the fun part of it.
Mm. I mean, I'm not sure about that. So Cadiz are languishing in 14th place, just 4 points
Yeah.
above the relegation zone. So all of these teams in the bottom half of the table, like they are absolutely battling it out. Every single game matters. And Cadiz has the second worst defense. I think they have the fourth worst offense in La Liga as well. So they struggle to score goals. They struggle to defend, but still they somehow shithouse a win sometimes and manage to stay out of trouble, man. And that was the case a couple of games back when they beat Real Betis 2-0. Can you imagine?
Actually,
Uh,
so that's the thing, one thing, Jacob, one thing with Real Madrid is, uh, this is the club we all support and love. But one thing that I can say is a conclusion that I have drawn, at least from the past 2, 3 years of watching, is that we have this tendency to go to the level of our opponent. You know, if our
mm,
opponent is, raising the bar high, we will also raise the bar high. If the opponent, is raising the bar low, we're also gonna raise the bar low. You understand? And the point is, unless we have that moment of individual magic, which most likely will be missing tomorrow, because I don't know. I feel like, half of the team, or even more than half of the team, will be out, because the point is, whether we like it or not, at least I still believe that, the Chelsea tie is not dead and done yet. So,
mm,
it's rightfully so, Carlo will rest, the big guns. So I feel like, the guys who are going to come in are just going to, lower the ceiling, or rather lower the floor of the team to meet
mm.
the ceiling of Cadiz. And because of that, it's going to be, an almost even playing field. So, yeah.
Come on, Malika. How can we? Okay, you're right. We don't have a B team. Although, like, are you saying that the likes of Mariano, maybe even Alvaro, if he comes on, like, are on the same level as Cadiz?
I'm saying that the thing is, even if I have Karim Benzema and what's he called, and Vinicius and Modric and Kroos and all these guys, it will still, we will still play to their level,
Mm,
and then find a moment of individual brilliance and take it away. You understand? So that's the thing. What I'm just trying to say here is that we find a way, for whatever reason, to adapt to our opponents. If they're brilliant, we also try to be brilliant. If they're shit, then we try to also meet them at the shit level as well. So this is what I'm just trying to say. It's not about, the individual of the Mariano or the Hazards, but I'm just saying that the point is that, and then added with the point that you're taking away 5, 6, 7 players away from the, first 11, you're gonna give players who are liking playing time and what is not. So eventually, the floor of the team is gonna be dropped to meet the ceiling of Cadiz because of this. And then I kind of feel like it's gonna be a more, yeah, even level field kind of game, and hope maybe who knows, Hazard does something brilliant.
I mean, to be fair, he did get an assist last time around. And yeah, man, but we'll get into all of that soon. I am like super excited to review the Chelsea game as well with you because in your standards, I'm pretty sure it was a pretty entertaining game. You saw some good football, at least in the first half.
It was good. Honestly, it was a good game. I really did like it. Although I missed some time. I missed normally like I always miss the second half. But this time around it was the reverse. I watched the end of the first half and the whole second half. So yeah, it was a really, really good game, honestly. It was a good game. But the point is, as I wrote in the group, like this, I don't remember being this confident going into any game in my life, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I just started to fear that, okay, like, is this overconfidence or is this arrogance, honestly? Because I had a chat with a friend, and he was, we were discussing, we were bantering in the morning, and he was like, "What do you think of Chelsea and Lampard?" I'm like, "I don't even think of them. Like if we don't win this game, then I mean, we don't even deserve to be playing in the Champions League in the first place. Then,
Mm.
that was the level of confidence I had. Like if we cannot dispatch Chelsea, then I'm sorry, we should just go home and sleep. Like we shouldn't even call ourselves Real Madrid. Then what's the pride there?"
Yeah.
Honestly. So, and it was there and you could see that in the game, honestly. Like it was a game of boys against men, honestly. And unfortunately, we couldn't score more, but I wish, we could have scored much more, honestly. But yeah, it is what it is. Like there is no, you just have to take what you can take, man. Honestly, we shouldn't, gloat. I mean, a 2-0 victory is a 2-0 victory. We still have the upper hand, so everything is still in our hands. We can still get things done. But yeah, as you said, it was a really entertaining tie on Wednesday.
Oh yeah. Sunil was just texting me, saying that we can't see your face, but we tried, guys. We tried setting the lighting. He's like sitting in a fully lit room. You just can't see his face for some reason.
Exactly.
It is just
Unfortunately.
Zoom. It is just Zoom playing tricks on us again. Sometimes it's with Farooq's audio, sometimes it's the video. You just
I don't know, honestly, today. Honestly, to God, for today, I have no idea what happened. Because I actually was on a meeting earlier today and everything was cool. I don't know what happened with this.
mm. Oh man, it's fine. We can still like hear your voice. It's fine. We just can't see your intricate facial expressions. But anyways, we do have a couple of chats. So Dennis says, "I don't want to see Mariano. Come on, man. No way. I don't mind Alvaro coming on." I mean, the thing is, so Carlo in his presser, he did say that Benzema was the one who was the most fit of all of the players. He recovered the fastest. He's at top and peak physical form right now. So we should totally expect to see Benzema, especially even though Carlo denied that they're kind of optimizing Benzema's minutes to help him in the Pichichi as well. I'm pretty sure it's on the back of all of their minds, and Benzema is going to be all out trying to get one over Lewandowski.
Yeah, I think actually that's the thing. Actually, I was also gonna talk about that. Like about the whole subbing on benching the teams. I think like the team is gonna try to help Benzema, score as much as he can. At least for the PCC race, because the point is, at one point it looked like Lewandowski was the low runner winner, but now if I'm not mistaken, it's just 3 goals between them. If I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
just
so
three.
that's totally doable, honestly. So yeah, especially considering like Cadiz is in a position that because Benzema will be hungry to play against. So yeah, why not? So I think no matter how much even they reshuffle, right to your point. So I think the story of Mariano and Alvaro is just maybe in the second half, or maybe who knows, we play a 4-4-2 system with 2 strikers. But I want to feel like even if we play with 2 strikers, the second striker is going to be Hazard or Rodrigo, so something like this. So I think Alvaro and Mariano are a really, really, really long shot, honestly.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And we have Arpit also in the chat. He says, "Do you see Madrid losing the second spot to Atleti, seeing their form and Madrid's inconsistency in the league?" So yeah, man, like
I said it
Atleti are
earlier, like
totally flying. Did you expect this out of this Atletico team?
honestly, I didn't expect it out of Atleti because I actually I thought this was going to be the end for Simeone. Actually, when I mean the end, I mean like obviously even the greatest coaches find it difficult to remotivate teams continuously over and over and over. And credit to Diego Simeone, he has done it much more than he has exceeded all expectations. I just thought like maybe this is the time he's going to go for a fresh start, to a different team. I was actually thinking the Italian Serie A, honestly. But they've surprised me, man, honestly. Like they are the form team in La Liga right now, honestly. Like, and just to answer the question, honestly, like I really do see us losing this second place, honestly, because I feel like we have priorities. The thing is, if we are able to go, if we get through Chelsea next week, Tuesday, the next team is Manchester City, and also hindsight is a Copa del Rey final against Osasuna as well, so well, the thing is, whatever happens, as I said, we're going to be either first losers or second losers or third losers, so it doesn't change anything. Okay, yeah, most likely the monetary, the monetary gifts for the position, the rank will be there, but I think eventually the team is gonna, prioritize this cup tournament, and we're gonna just keep seeing, one, two, three players being shuffled in and out, and that will, mess with the dynamics of the team, and we're gonna drop points here and there, and I think Atleti are just gonna come in and sweep in there.
Mm. And yeah, Dennis says if Atleti finish above us, I will lose it, especially if we don't win the UCL. I mean, it is always annoying when you lose to one of your most bitterest rivals, but at this point, we have to look out for ourselves now. We have to optimize ourselves for the UCL and the Osasuna game. So yeah, totally agree with you. And on that note, on Athletics note though, they are really gelling as a team, Farooq. But do you see Jao Felix coming back and getting into that mix and trying to get some minutes?
No,
Or
no, no, no. I don't see Felix coming. I mean, Felix most likely would stay at Chelsea, I want to assume.
yeah,
But even if Chelsea don't buy Felix, I think Felix is gonna find a different team. I don't see Felix coming back to the because Felix has always been, I don't know, a square peg in a round hole. It's not necessarily that he's a bad player or like that. Atleti is a bad team. It's just, I think, not the right fit, I think, in my opinion. I think maybe that's just because I think they tried and tried and tried, and it's just they didn't fit. Like Felix got frustrated, Atleti got frustrated, Diego Simeone got frustrated. So I think the match is not it's not the ideal one because we can see the way. I mean, at least for me, based on a couple of games I've seen from him at Chelsea, like he looks by far their most creative and their most exciting or the most threatening option for Chelsea. But the point is, right now, hands down, Antoine Griezmann is the best player in La Liga this season, in my opinion, honestly.
yeah.
And he's playing exactly the role that João Felix wants to play, exactly the role that Felix is playing for Chelsea. And the point is, Griezmann is a hero. He's a legend. He's a court legend at Atleti. Even considering the whole Barcelona fiasco thing, like he's a court hero there. And the way he's playing, I think it's because Griezmann's return to that position, he's playing that form. With the departure of João Felix, actually is one of the integral factors. That led to Atleti's recovery, honestly. So because of that, I really do feel like Felix's chapter at Space is almost done, or is done rather, I would say.
Mhm. Well, I'm just adjusting my lighting here. But yeah, I don't see Felix coming back as well. But there's a lot of Chelsea fans do keep asking the question, right? What is Felix's exact role? Like, if he's not scoring goals, if he's not exactly creating clear-cut chances, why is he there? Is he just there to do fancy dribbles or do nice touches?
I mean, the thing is this right now, like João Felix, let's not forget, was a very young player when he came to Atletico, and he's still a young player, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's 23 or 24. I'm not sure. But what I'm just trying to point here out is that João Felix actually hasn't had that time to develop, honestly. He, came from Benfica. They were playing a different system. He came to meet Diego Simeone, and Diego Simeone was playing a different system. He was expecting something different. But even at the World Cup, you could see that, he had that. His ability to create chances. I think at the World Cup, maybe he was the best Portuguese player before they got eliminated, honestly. He was really good. But the point is, right now at Chelsea, they're playing without a focal point. There is no number 9. There is no one to score the goals. You understand?
Yeah.
And even you can see like situations where like he gets the ball from the beginning and he goes all the way, and it's becoming too much. Like it's like trying to do everything all at once. You understand? So it's not just about that. Honestly, it sounds like making excuses and lame excuses for Felix, but when you look at it on the other side of the portal as well, it's not been very fair to him. Honestly, I would say it's not been a very ideal situation for him as well for him to thrive. It's not been he hasn't been given the system to thrive, honestly, because he went to Chelsea. It was, it was Potter, and then it was, Bruno, and then now it's Frank, and then who knows who's going to be the next coach there. And it's just honestly, it's just a market right now at Chelsea. So, yeah, well, I do still fancy João Felix. Honestly, I do think like there is something that's going to come out from him.
Yeah, man. You could say that he's been really unlucky with the teams that he has gone to. It just hasn't clicked for him. It wasn't the right fit, especially with Simeone and Atletico. We thought maybe at one point there were moments in the seasons where past where Simeone did get a lot out of Felix, but I feel like it's also Felix's fault. He just goes for like the wrong teams, man. But yeah, I feel like especially in a team like Bayern with a lot of attackers, with a lot of runners from midfield, Felix could be the
Yeah.
perfect catalyst. Um,
For Bayern, I doubt that, man. I mean, unless Thomas Muller leaves, man. I mean, they have. I think like a player like what's he called, Jamal Musiala is someone that actually is gonna grow into that João Felix role as well because I think Felix needs to play with a bit of freedom, to roam around, and that's what Thomas Muller does right now. And this is what Jamal Musiala is gonna do in the future. If anything, Bayern needs a striker similar to what Chelsea needs. Actually, I
mm,
think I do think maybe that might not be a good fit. I don't know, but I mean there are teams that he can fit in. Honestly, I can think of United with Ten Hag. I think that would be an option. But I mean, there are teams there. There are teams. I mean, even Juve, if they can stick into the UCL, would be a
yeah.
fit for him. He can play the Dybala role because since Dybala left, they've not had anyone there, so that can be something as well. I mean, there are teams that are gonna take a punt on him. Honestly, I mean, even Newcastle if they're able to finish in the UCL spots.
Yeah.
But the point is, a player like Felix is such a luxurious player, and the expense involved is going to be too much. So that's also something that one has to consider, though, because obviously it leaves a limited number of teams that can afford him.
Yeah, he's not the most versatile type of player. We always say
And
this
this
for
is also
number.
the truth.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the handicap to him as well. He's not the most versatile player as well. So he has to play in a certain system to bring out the best of him, honestly. But I mean that's the thing. Like people like Felix, you take that gamble on them and build your team around them. That's the thing, honestly. That's what he's not been able to have. Consistent at Atletico Madrid as well. So that's one downside. So you just have to you need to find a coach that will believe in him and build around him, and play to hone his abilities to the best.
Then it's the great stuff. I see Felix going to Arsenal, IMO. Is that a good fit according to you?
It is honestly, it is a good fit. But however, when you look at the way Arsenal plays, then who does he bench? This is the question.
Mm,
Or who does he supplement?
yeah. Oh yeah. Hi Scott. Scott is also in the chat. He says Chelsea ain't in no European leagues as it stands for next season. Yeah, that is going to be a major factor in how their transfer season looks like in the next summer, because a lot of their players are maybe just considering the way out. Even players who are before untouchable, because we even see rumors, Farooq, of Reece James coming in for 50 mil.
Yeah, that's true actually. That's really true actually. But honestly, right now on all these transfers and the rumors and this and that, it's just bogus, news on this point in time, honestly. Like we just see a lot of what is and what is not, honestly. But
Hmm.
I don't know, man. Honestly, I really don't know what to say about that, man. Really, just
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, they're definitely gonna have cash. They're gonna play beautiful football. Maybe next season if they find the right coach. But yeah, things are gonna be hard without the UCL just to keep those players in.
definitely.
Um,
But the point is, I mean, I don't know if you saw, but like what's he called? Chelsea actually extended the contract of Enzo Fernandez till 2032. You
mm,
know, and I don't know, man. Fernandez literally came 2 days ago, man. What contract are you extending afterward? So I don't know, but I just feel like Chelsea have set the dominoes in the right place that they are expecting the fact that they're not gonna compete for the Champions League, or they're not gonna compete in any European competitions next year. So that's what I feel, because the point is when you look at the players, like it's the likes of Koulibaly, it's the likes of I mean, for example, Koulibaly, what's gonna happen to him? It's gonna take a king's ransom to get him away from Chelsea as well. So like, who's gonna go into that? Where you look at the young players that just joined, the likes of Modric, the likes of Enzo Fernandez, for sure they're not going anywhere. The likes of Badiashile, they're not going anywhere. You know, and let's not forget, like, if the rumors are to be believed as well, with the news that we've all heard about, what's he called, the Leipzig forward, the name
Leimert.
skipped. No, the forward, the attacker. The name skipped my mind actually.
Yeah, they are definitely gonna go for forward. Let's see
Yeah,
how
he
it all
is
plays out.
the French striker. What's his name? I forgot his name actually. Interesting. anyways, they're gonna get that as well. So like the point is the team is already quite stacked. So I don't think there is too much. Obviously, some people are gonna look to leave. Honestly, I think a lot of players are gonna look to leave, and they also need to shed players because they have too much players. And I was reading something on the Athletic, and he was saying even some players have to actually change in the corridors because the dressing room is so is so filled up. So I don't know, man. It's going to be quite interesting to see how the summer pans out at Chelsea. Honestly, it's going to be, a soap opera if anyone is interested in drama, honestly. I was reading I made a tweet. I don't know who it was, but he was like saying, this Amazon all or nothing thing, they will for sure, be punching the wall right now that they didn't, buy the rights to Chelsea for this season. Imagine the drama and all the, all the all the things that you'll be seeing behind the scenes. It would have been so interesting, honestly, this season. But it's still funny, honestly. So let's see what happens in the summer because I think Chelsea is one. It's going to be something interesting, honestly. Chelsea is one interesting thing to see, man.
Yeah. But yeah, we've been rambling on and on about Chelsea and Felix and whatnot. But before we get into La Liga and the Cadiz preview, we let's just take a couple more comments. There's Harpreet in the chat again. He says, "Any South American kid Madrid are going for." Last I heard, it was Robert Renan at CB.
Honestly, I have no idea about that.
I mean, Farooq, do we need any more South American kids playing, running around?
I mean, I wouldn't say no. I mean, the South Americans we have literally are the soul and the heart of the future of this team, man. I mean, I'm looking at what's it called? I'm looking at Militao in defense, Valverde in the middle of the park, Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr. So yeah, I mean, give me some more South Americans, man. Maybe we can get a fullback to replace Carlos and Marcelo.
Hmm.
That can be one. That can be one. Yeah, we can tell. I mean, there's Tobias Vinicius. I'm not mistaken, he's Brazilian as well, right?
Yeah, he is Brazilian.
So yeah, I mean, why not? Let's see how it goes, man. Like, give me the. I mean, I was seeing the guy. Someone was saying, the recipe to success is just, just go and marry a Brazilian woman and give 5 boys and just, throw them into Perez's laps and
Make money, yeah.
make money, just make money, man.
Cool. Yeah, I guess let's get into the La Liga, state of La Liga, especially with 10 games to go. The relegation battle is heating up. So is the spot for the UCL spots. So right now, let's maybe Farooq, you can pull up the table also on your screen just to have more context. But
Sure,
yeah,
sure, sure. Just look
uh,
at it.
yeah. So
Yeah,
Sociedad are right now in the UCL spot, but Villarreal though they climbed up because of Betis's poor form recently.
yeah.
They're at fifth with a 4 point difference to Sociedad. Do you see this Villarreal team actually fighting it out and heading to the UCL spot? Because remember, we even have to play Sociedad later in the season. That's still
Yeah.
there.
I mean, actually, if I'm not mistaken, as well, last season as well, Real Betis also had this fallout, this burnout towards the end of the season as well. Because I remember they were also, fighting for the top four position, but eventually they couldn't, cross over the line. So, it's just karma repeating itself, or rather history repeating itself there again. But for Villarreal, I think actually maybe you might want to say they're picking up form, just in the right time, to make a late push for this position, honestly. Well, I want to stick with, Sociedad on this, honestly,
Hmm.
because I think Sociedad has actually done quite a really good job, with Alguacil, I think, in the helm. So honestly, they've really done really well this season. The team has been really interesting, and especially considering that our guy Kubo is there as well. So you want them to finish the season well. But yeah, I do think Villarreal also are on form, compared to what they've been before, and and let's not forget, I think this season as well, Gerard Moreno has been, hot and cold. He's been injured in and out of the team as well. So, getting him back as well for the round will also be very crucial as well, for Villarreal. So, I do think, it's going to be quite a position to watch out for, honestly. But for now, my money is going to be on Sociedad.
Hmm. Well, yeah, that is the thing, but they have been the most consistent in this La Liga season for the fourth spot or the third spot even. Although I would actually prefer having Villarreal in the UCL because they have a resolute defense. They're very solid in the midfield, and I feel like as they're built for a cup uh, run, man. As well, we even saw them have a really deep run. Was it last season or yeah, it was season before that.
Yeah. It was the
Yeah.
season before that. It was the season before that.
Yeah, and Sociedad don't really have a good track record of Europe, but if Kubo decides to stay in Sociedad for the next season as well, it would be a really good experience for him playing in the UCL.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, actually. That's true. Yeah, I
But yeah,
mean, let's see. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Villarreal's coach is Kike Setien, right? The
yeah,
former Barca coach.
yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's also a astute tactician, actually. So it's really interesting to see how it's going there. I mean, it's gonna be a really good one, honestly. But I think Betis can still, come back as well. I'm not gonna, count out, Manuel Pellegrini. He's such a astute tactician, honestly. So I'm not gonna count them out just yet. But for now, as I said, like, Sociedad has my money.
Mm. Well, but one more team that we absolutely struggled against this season was Rayo. But Rayo are without a win in 5 or 6 games right now, and they're now languishing in ninth. I had really high expectations for them. I actually thought they could make a late run for the UEL spots or the Conference League.
Yeah.
That just didn't happen. But yeah, if you go down to the second half of the table, you can see that the teams we have beloved and are used to seeing playing in La Liga for a long, long time are now in danger of being falling out. Of course, we have Elche right at the bottom with no chance of escaping relegation. They only have 13 points for the whole season, Farooq. Like,
Yeah.
how is that possible?
Yeah, I'm just seeing like they have 2 wins the whole season. Honestly, it's purely shambolic. Honestly, 2 wins in the whole season, and it's purely shambolic. Honestly,
It's probably
uh,
like one of the worst La Liga performances I've seen in recent years. They're definitely going to go out. But surprisingly, look who else is languishing in the relegation zone. Valencia and Espanyol.
unfortunately, they would have even equal amount of points in 27 points each. It's quite sad because this is these guys are history. These guys are royalty in La Liga. Honestly, both Espanyol and Valencia. Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think Espanyol was relegated recently. I think a couple of seasons back, maybe 3, 4. I can't recall exactly the number, but I do remember that they were relegated, a number of seasons back as well. But honestly, I will, put Espanyol. I think might be able to turn it around, but Valencia, honestly, I'm not too sure really because I don't just know what's going on there. Especially, I think we've talked about this sometime in the past with Peter Lim as well. He's just literally run the club into the ground, honestly. But there are some really, interesting players at Valencia, honestly. But I don't know how it's gonna pan out eventually. But it's really sad to see a team, with so much history, a team that's so valuable, and eventually this is what uh, this is what the position they get to be in to gross mismanagement. Honestly, it's quite sad.
Yeah. Yeah, like the reality is, if Valencia do go down, the La Liga is gonna lose a lot of good players, man, a lot of good league players, because all of them are gonna look to go to other leagues, especially if they go down, and it's just
Yeah.
gonna be sad. Although Dennis does not agree, he says, "Come on, I hope Valencia go down. Fuck them."
uh, okay, I mean that's the thing, like Valencia going down, but it's for the the history of the league and all that. It's just like Everton in the Premier League, like though some people don't want Everton to go down because this is a team that carries so much history in the league as well. So it's very similar to Valencia as well, honestly. So them going down, it's not because of the love we have for
Mm,
Sevilla or lack thereof. It's just about the fact that this is history of the league, and eventually you want to maintain that historic balance, that historic I don't know that historic rivalry between you and your opponents in the league. Honestly, it's because I mean it's more fun to play Valencia than to play Valladolid, for example. I
yeah,
mean, they won't be really bad this season, but I mean, it's still more fun to play Valencia than to play Valladolid. So yeah, there is that as well. So
cool, man. Yeah, I guess the big story in La Liga this season has been the form of Sevilla, man. Like, apart from that, I guess they are the most interestingly positioned team in the bottom half of the table. So I'm just going to pull up Dennis's comment here. He says, "Yeah, La Liga relegation battle is mad. Viva Sevilla! They humbled the Red Devils yesterday, and they are like 5 points behind relegation."
yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing, man. Like in the competition, they humble the Red Devils. It's their competition. As much as the UCL is our competition, the UL is Sevilla's bread and butter actually. So I mean, that game, I didn't watch the game, but the highlights I've seen, like, United dominated the game so much, and, Sevilla out of the nothing, got back in the game, got one back, and just kept bombarding until they found the eventual equalizer. And both of them were own goals, but you will take whatever it is you get at this point in time. Honestly, it's 22 men deliver. He's come after the what's it called, the Chilean coach or the Argentine coach, I forgot, Sampaoli. After the Argentine coach Sampaoli, he's come after Sampaoli, and he's settled things a bit, and he's at least, although even they are not fully clear yet out of the woods yet, but at least he's dragged them a bit away from the relegation zone so far. So yeah, he's done a really good job, honestly. Like when delivery he's settled them, and if they can pull up a run together in the Europa as well, I can tell they might be dreaming of being in the UCL again next year actually. So yeah, fingers crossed on that.
Yeah, I mean the plot armor for Sevilla is like insane in the Europa League, especially. You always bet on them to reach the final at least. No, but one interesting tidbit that could come out of how it could play out, like God forbid, like let's say if Sevilla get relegated this season, they go play in the Segunda, and if they win the Europa League, a Segunda team player, I mean a Segunda team will be playing in the Champions League, man.
I think that's unprecedented in the history of the Champions League. I think most likely. I'm not sure, but I think that would most likely have never happened. And that would be really, really crazy. Nah, I honestly, that would be really crazy. Really, really, honestly, it would be crazy. But yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, for the sake of history, man, let that happen, man. Just for history's sake. But I think Sevilla are too far out of the woods right now to actually, go down crashing. But I do fancy Sevilla against United, honestly, because for the next leg, United have Licha Martinez out. Varane was injured at halftime. Bruno Fernandes is out of the game because he's suspended. Marcus Rashford was injured, so he missed this leg. How fit is he going to be for the second leg? So all these things are just tallying, to come in favor of Sevilla, honestly. So I think if they can get their shit together, they should be able to handle the second leg in Spain, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. And I did catch a couple of their game highlights in the last three La Liga games. I feel like they're on an upward swing, man. El Nesiri has kind of found his scoring boots.
Yeah.
Ocampos is like playing way better than he used to. He's not like dead rubber at this point. Yeah, but they're getting their shit together, and I even predict they might even get to the top half of the table. But let's see. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like when you check, they're just 4 points away from Celta at number 10. So it's not too much to ask, honestly. And as you said, the upward turning form of the players, and especially the thing is when it comes to the business end of Europa League, like Sevilla's players are really fired up. So maybe that might just be another helping factor for them, honestly. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, if they finish in the top half. And yeah, it's been a bad season, and that goes to show, how important some certain players are in the team. Because let's not forget, they lost Joe Kunde and Diego Carlos at once. So it's not like it's not easy to lose two stalwarts. You literally lost the entirety of the defense there. So it's not easy to build back there. But
It also didn't help that they were cycling coaches left and right.
exactly. So that there is that as well. There is that as well, honestly. That's also true. Well, yeah, eventually, the team has a lot of quality. So, it's only expected that, they bounce back eventually. And yeah, I wish them all the best. I hope they can, get far and win the UEL, and hopefully we can, have a Super Cup with them in August.
Let's see. Let's hope. And Farooq, do you see any other team that we should discuss in the table, or like let's just get into the Cadiz thing?
I mean, Valladolid owned by Ronaldo, maybe. I don't know. But Celta Vigo actually, it's a club that actually I don't know what's up with them. Honestly, there's just, I mean, the position in the league actually says everything. It's been such an average team, and actually you can even see they have 9-9, and they have 9 victories and 9 losses. And sorry, 9 victories, 9 draws, and 10 losses. It's. I mean, this is the most even. I don't know, form you can ever see. And even if you see the form over the last 5 games, they won 2 games and draw 3 games. They're unbeaten in the last 5, but with only 2 victories.
Yeah.
I do remember Celta Vigo with the Rafinhas and the Iago Aspas and the I forgot the name of the Oriana, exactly, Oriana. The Fabian Orianas, and there was this Swedish guy with the white hair who joined Valencia eventually.
Yeah.
I forgot his name as well. So like those with those guys, like it was always a really, really difficult battle. Always Celta were there, and they're so much of a pain in the ass. But right now Celta has just regressed to being the average team and what is not. But yeah, man, it's. I just want to shout them down up. But yeah, so far so good, man.
Yeah. I guess on that note, let's like quickly preview the Cadiz team a bit because there's not a lot to talk about this team. Like I already mentioned, have the second worst defense. They're not scoring goals. None of their forwards have more than 5 goals, which is shocking. Uh, and they just not have been able to, put a consistent front three out, man. So they play a 4-4-2 with two strikers up front,
Yeah.
and none of their strikers have been in form. They even tried giving a lot of minutes to Alvaro Negredo, who is usually very, very reliable when he gets a chance. But he has been missing a lot of chances, and it might be finally time to, hang up his boots. He is just 37. He's not the oldest player in La Liga, but is this a new norm, Farooq? Like we see so many 35 plus players right now in La Liga.
Definitely. I mean, this is the new normal actually. Definitely. So that's the thing. Like, when you see some players honestly like, this I mean, let's not forget like the way the likes of Zidane retired, let's not forget, I think Zidane retired at 33. I can't recall exactly when he did, but he retired still, at quite a young age. Let's not forget, even the likes of Ruud van Nistelrooy or when they were retired, at what level they were playing, the likes of people inside and so on and so forth. So but honestly, right now, I think there has been so much advancement in the way the game is played. With especially the advancement of modern medicine as well. Modern medicine is been just like a miracle. For the players. And I don't know, man. It seems like 30 is the new 20 right now, honestly. So
Yeah.
not until you 30, you're not actually gonna hit the heights that you should, as we've seen with Karim Benzema. It was until he turned 30 that he became the monster that he became. Albeit he had to play with a different monster, and there is all that. But yeah, you get the point, because the thing is, you can even see right now with Cristiano and Messi, they're still going strong and they're still playing as well. And I mean, our own very own evidence is there on the pitch. Luka Modric, man, the man is 38, but he's still going as strong as possible. So yeah, I mean, right now I think 30 is the new 20, and these guys are just gonna keep playing and playing, and the youngsters have just to keep looking out for me, honestly.
Mm. Yeah, and Dennis said, Man United Varane guy is so injury prone. I'm happy we got rid of him. You see players playing well into the 35s with like literally no injuries. Like touch wood, not gonna jinx it, but there are so many players like this. Like we see the likes of Isco, James, Varane, like totally losing it, man, when they reach almost their 30s or 32s. So yeah, it all depends on the type of physique that the player is born with and whatnot. But
I
yeah.
mean, that's the thing, man. Like, it's always about that, it's always also about the individual as well, because right now, I mean, Isco and James both are jobless, actually. It's quite a fit, man. I mean, I remember 2017, man, like 2016, 2017, Isco, James, those were, that was a two punch when you take off Isco, you bring on James, you take on James, you bring on Isco. Like that was a two punch for Zidane's, world best team at that point in time. Honestly, it's quite sad to see them now. So it just goes to show that on the one hand you have people like Modric who try to take care of themselves as much as possible, and on the other hand you have people like Isco who are unable to hold down a job, and people like James who are being even replaced by the likes of Olympiacos. It's quite sad, honestly, to see. Well, it's just about person to person, player to player. I mean, on one hand, also we can see even at Barcelona, there evidence. Like you can see with how much Ousmane Dembele gets injured so much.
Yeah.
It's also about that dynamic of how good you look after yourself. How willing you are to put in the work, put in the effort, and put in the money. So it's not easy, honestly. But then every player has a different mindset. Hence why you can see Varane literally is made of glass, honestly. Like, I mean, he's not that old, but he's literally, he's worn out so much. And yeah, I mean, it's just what it is, man.
Yeah. And yeah, let's just try to keep winning all of these La Liga games, man, because even though we say La Liga is dead pretty much for Real Madrid, we do have a lot of interesting matchups coming up. So we play the likes of Celta, Real Sociedad, Betis, Rayo Vallecano again. But yeah, Dennis says my favorite moment versus Celta Vigo is when Ronaldo scored 4 goals versus them in 2016. It's always a high scoring game against them. It's always like 4-2 or 4-1.
Exactly. exactly. It's. I mean, the point is, whenever you play Celta as well, honestly, we've won a lot of games, but I've always felt, like the scoreline haven't actually reflected what the game was, honestly.
Yeah.
Like as you said, it's always, a high scoring game of basketball, but honestly, like Celta has been a really, and it's actually fun to play Celta, honestly, because the point is at least, then, not now, but then like they were a team that, will come and attack you and, you attack them. So it's just about the point of whose attack is better, like who's the better team here. Or, when people come and play just, 10 men behind the ball and it's just, a matter of a moment of individual brilliance or a game of luck, they can just have one counter and one goal, and that's just it. You lose the game, although you're way better than them. But when you play teams like Celta in the past, it's always fun because it's just a matter of who is the better team there.
Yeah, man. Like whenever we played Celta, the thing that really stands out to me is I used to be terrified of the sight of Iago Aspas.
Yes. That's Aspas, man. Aspas, the old man. Aspas is just, the very, 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 the example, the very, very prototype for people who go abroad and it doesn't work and they just have to come back home. Because if you could recall, Aspas went to Liverpool and it just didn't work out for him in England at all.
Yeah.
Aspas was the shadow of himself in England, but he came back to Spain and he's been tearing left, right, and center, man, like a proper La Liga legend, proper, Celta legend, man. Sure, kudos to Aspas. Honestly, what he's done is nothing short of incredible.
Yeah. On his day, like even if you put the peak Sergio Ramos or Pepe against him, he's still gonna find a way to score.
Yeah, yeah. Man, actually, the thing about Aspas is like, he's not your typical center forward. He's a center forward who roams all around, goes left, right, center, middle,
He
he's
can
just
even score free kicks.
exactly, man. The man starts the play, he wins back the ball, starts the counter, is at the end of the counter as also. He was the package for Celta, man. He was the package for Celta, the complete package, actually.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it. Like all of my notes on Cadiz and La Liga. You wanna get right into Carlos' quotes for the press conference and then head into the lineups.
Sure, why not, man? We can go through that.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'll just go through some of Carlos' quotes. He just confirmed that Toni Kroos and Vinicius are going to be out with muscle fatigue. Farooq, you were saying that it's going to be a welcome break, especially for Vinicius to not play against Cadiz.
Yeah, man, definitely. Like, I mean, Vini has literally, been running to the ground this season, and he's rightly being the main man of our team. And I'm sure we're gonna miss him definitely in the game against Cadiz, 100%. But it's fine. I mean, it's Cadiz. If there's a team that you're gonna miss Vini against, it's Cadiz. It's fine. I'm much more than content with that. Well, as I said, like it's because I mean you can see like how much informed and confident Vinicius Junior is right now because I know it's not difficult to come up against Luis James and and be the man of the match in that game. Honestly, it's not an easy feat, really, really, and it's so obvious. Like it was really. I mean, anyone who watched the game, even although Vini didn't score, will understand that. Yeah, like I mean, Vini is the man of this team. Vini is right now the main man in this team, honestly, and he's played so much. Let's not forget about his forays with Brazil at the World Cup and even after the World Cup during the national team break and what is not, honestly. So I think this is a much welcome and much needed break, actually.
Yeah, especially like I feel like he's turned it up a gear in this play after the international break because he was finding it troublesome to face these tough fullbacks in the likes of Juan Foyth, Araujo early on in the season, and he just stirred them up in these last few games.
Exactly. Yeah, that's actually putting that into consideration. He's come up against the people that he's suffered the most against. Which is Ronald Araujo. 1-4 in the first leg. Against Villarreal as also. He literally tore them to shreds. Honestly, in the last two games, and add Reece James to that list, and yeah, as you said, it goes to fortify that claim that he's actually step up a notch. And actually, I was seeing him say something after the game. I think he was saying like it's normal. Like he came at 18, so definitely now that he's 22, even though 23, if I'm not mistaken, definitely there's going to be a difference, which actually makes a lot of sense, and puts into perspective how we football fans are really really impatient. And as I always say, the point is I really don't care how old you are, as long as you've signed a professional contract and they're paying you, you need to perform. You understand?
Yeah.
But as a human being, you can understand that that development, that growth has to happen. Like he's a very young man, so he's coming from, Brazil, the whole different system, a whole different league, coming into this club, which is the biggest club in the world, with all the pressure on your shoulder to perform and what is and what is not. So it's gonna take time, to be able to adapt to those, to those demands and to the pressure around as well. So yeah, man, kudos to Vini. Honestly, he's really, really stepped up a lot.
Yeah, Carlo Ancelotti even got asked in the press conference, would you, if given the chance, swap Haaland for Vini? He was like, "What sort of a question is that? I get the maximum out of Vini here at Real Madrid, and Haaland is like a really important player for Man City, and Pep Guardiola gets the maximum out of him." So he just said, basically, both of them are at the same level right now. Do you agree with that, Farouk?
I mean, that's just Carlo being Carlo, diplomat, man. Honestly, but I wouldn't take Erling Haaland for Vinicius Junior 100%. No, 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 no. Honestly, and for me, I mean, the only person I would take Vinicius Junior for is Kylian Mbappe. Honestly, that's the only person I would take Vinicius Junior for. Honestly, and there's even arguments right now that at this point in time, at this very point in time, Vini is a better player than Vinicius or than Mbappe.
Yeah.
Or rather, let's say Vini is in better form than Kylian Mbappe. You understand? At this certain point in time, and it's an argument that I can see why it exists, because honestly, like Vini has been playing like he has been insane. Honestly, Vini has been insane. Really, he has been really insane.
Yeah, he's only second to Haaland in terms of goal contributions this season.
Contributions, yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, the thing is, Jacob, like we like to, stratify everything if there's such a word. Like, we like to put everything into stats. Well, I said to you, like anyone who watches the game, especially really the game against Barcelona, the game against Villarreal, the game against Chelsea, you don't need Vini to score or assist to understand how he impacts the game. You understand? Well, the point is like we like to. I don't know how that happened. I think most likely it's just with the advancement of the digital age and
Yeah, man, it's Twitter
social
basically.
media as well. But I do used to remember like when I started watching football in 07, 08, 09, 010, like I did not know who scored what or how it was scored. We were just watching and being mesmerized by players. I always said like my first love in football was Dino. But how many goals did Dino scored? How many goals, how many assists did Dino make? You understand? But that was it. We were watching football for fun. But now, everything is a stat, everything is a new record. Someone is keen to score more, assist more, do this. But I mean, let's just play and enjoy what we do, man. I mean,
Do you think
that's
you bring up an interesting point, right? We satisfy things so much as fans. Do you think even football players, when they vote for the Ballon d'Or or the FIFA the best, the stats come into play?
definitely. I mean, the thing is that these people see these things as well. Like they're just human beings like you and me. The only thing is that we're broke ass and they're fucking rich. That's the only two different things. That's the only thing. So they're human beings like us. So like these things comes into play. The thing is that whether you like it or not, this what's it called? Squawker, Bleacher, Goal, BBC, Sky. Eventually they tweet these things, they post these things. Whether you like it or not as a footballer, it comes into your timeline as well.
Yeah.
You understand? So these things, whether you like it or not, tends to influence the decisions that you make eventually. So that's why, like, when you sit and you see, oh, people will come and say, oh, no, but Luka Modric is overrated. How many assists does he have? KDB has the record of the assists in the Premier League and this and that. I mean, I don't need to say it. If you come to me with that argument, honestly, I can't say anything. Honestly, I don't have anything to say to you. That's when you go and you talk about Sergio Busquets, like people will be like, oh, he's such an overrated player. No, how many tackles has he put in? How many balls has he recovered? Then I'm saying, I'm sorry, but you need to watch these guys. Honestly, like Sergio B is a player that I really love to hate, but you have to give the guy credit when it's due, man. When he was at the pump, he was the best in the business.
Yeah.
But now it's all about how many kilometers have you run, That's why, the other day I told you, that's the thing right now, like, the advent of Klopp and his game pressing, has literally turned football into athleticism. That's why we fall in love with players like Fede Valverde, Camavinga, because honestly, like, when you check, at least in my opinion, their technical ability compared to the guys I've seen in the past, it's so less. But when you come to the athletic ability, it's so more. I mean, I've seen Xavi Alonso play, man.
Yeah.
That's been like Xavi Alonso wasn't as athletic as these guys, but the technicality in his play was phenomenal.
Technicality and positioning. He didn't need to run that fast to,
exactly.
really shut down the ball.
He didn't need to run that fast.
Yeah.
He didn't need to run that fast, That's why, like, you see people like Toni Kroos are dying breeds because Toni Kroos, it's about the intelligence, the technicality, the reading of the game. But now when people are running at you at 1,000 kilometers an hour, you don't even have a time to read the game.
Yeah.
So this that's the thing, honestly. Like it's not like like shitting on Fede or Camavinga. Obviously, they're exceptional players. Like they're also technically adept players. But what I'm just saying is that like when you compare them to the guys that when we were kids we were watching play and we enjoyed watching, these are guys that will stand still and play their ball, man.
Yeah.
Like also let me even give an example that hits close to home. It's the case of Mesut Ozil, man. You know, everyone be like, oh, this, that, man. Mesut Ozil could pick out. He will give a blind man a pass in the dark, and the blind man will score. That's how good he was.
Yeah.
In the dark, he can't see anything. The blind man is blind. Also, it's dark. He can't see anything. But he will pass to him, and the guy will score.
Mm.
That's how fun it was, honestly, to see these guys, and that's how easy and simple it was. But now we satisfy everything. We yeah, man, we just go for the stats, and if this guy doesn't have this amount of pass and this amount of pass completion, this amount of ball recovery, this and that, all of a sudden, nah, it's not good enough. And you can see even, for example, Kamavinga was phenomenal in the left back position. But the first thing you see when you go on social media is, oh, he had nine recoveries,
Tackles. Yeah.
7 days, 100% pass completion. I'm sorry, but man, that's not my business. What's my business? My job is to see him, watch him,
Mm.
enjoy what he has done. You understand? So, well, obviously, yeah. Football has shifted to a different direction, but that's the thing. The more money it is, the more computers come into play, the more cameras, the more stats, the more this. That's just how it's going to become. And eventually, in the future, people are just gonna forget about the player and whatever they've seen in the game, and just after the game, go on their phone. How many tackles did this guy made? You just
Yeah.
watched him and you're not happy with what you see. You just want to be validated by seeing how many tackles he made in the game. It's unfortunate, but what it is, man.
Yeah, like the English fan always says, the game's gone. It's not just the tackles. Physicality is not encouraged anymore. So is like beautiful plays, not really. It's a dying breed, like you say. No, but
Exactly.
you bring up an interesting point, right? There are so many Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts that push out these stats at breakneck pace. They're competing with so many other outlets that they just don't. Because before I remember, we used to see a lot of these player compilations after every match. So this was Kamavinga. This was how he played. They just don't have the time to put that out. Instead, they just take the laziest thing that's available and then put that because the Twitter game is so important to their livelihood right now.
That's true, actually. That's why I said to you, like, the more exposure that comes with it, and this exposure is about money as well. As you said, like you're competing with so many people, so you have to, just put the stats there as soon as possible. Something like, you see stats that even don't make sense to you, honestly. Really, you see some stats like I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but sometimes, I just read some stats and I'm like, really, what then what? Okay, you are saying this, then what? What's the end point? What's the end goal? But you're right, actually, like this is their job, this is their livelihood, because as the more money, the more as the sport now is all about money and how you can aim and maximize the profit there. So that's why, like as you said, too much competition for these media outlets and this accounts. So they have to find whatever it is they can find and just turn all the whole performance into a single digits, or a game of numbers rather.
Game's gone. It is a shame. But let's get back into it. So we discussed that Benzema will probably play because he has to go for the PGT, uh,
Exactly.
and Mariano is like not really good enough to give him minutes, and he's out of. There is no point to playing him. He's definitely out of the club next season. And but one interesting thing is Carlo got asked whether Hazard will start tomorrow, and he said start maybe not, but he is having a few good moments, so I might give him a few minutes.
Hmm.
So
I saw that as well. I heard like Carlo was saying that he's in good form, so he might have a couple of minutes.
yeah, and where do you see him playing though, Farooq? Is he going to play the number 10 position or the number 9.5, or is he going to play instead for Vini?
I think he's gonna come on in the second half. I think he's gonna play on the wing because I think most likely Rodrigo Asensio is gonna get subbed out eventually.
Hmm.
Because I want to believe that tomorrow is gonna start with both Rodrigo and Asensio and Benzema as well.
Yeah,
So this is what I think. So I think Hazard's gonna come up in the second half either for these guys or maybe even for Karim Benzema himself. Who you can tell,
yeah.
and go to false nine position. So this is something as well. Yeah, I think maybe that can be actually that can be. But I don't know, man. If is Mariano gonna sorry, is Alvaro gonna travel? If Alvaro travels, maybe he gets a chance.
I looked at the squad list. And let me see. I don't think he was there. But anyways, Uh,
No, he's not there. He's not there. I just saw
yeah.
the squad.
The thing is,
Navarro.
we just don't have other wingers, man. If we support Asensio or Rodrigo, we don't have wingers to pull out, but we do have strikers in the form of Mariano.
Yeah. So I mean, I do see, Benzema and most likely Rodrigo playing 60 minutes, 65 minutes,
Hmm.
and maybe Mariano and Hazard come on, depending on what the game looks like, honestly.
Yeah.
That depends because I think like if we're chasing the game, that does not happen.
Hmm.
So I think if it's like a 1-0 victory in a comfortable game, I think I will see both Mariano and Hazard. But even if we're chasing the game, I think Hazard will still come on, but maybe not Mariano.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, you can always bring on the likes of Danny Ceballos and just go strikerless totally.
Hmm.
So you don't need to. That's why I say it depends on what the game looks like.
Yeah.
So uh, let's see how it goes, man. I mean, for Hazard, I think he's gonna play on the wing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to read a couple of comments from Dennis. He says, like you said, Farooq, Vinny doesn't need goals and assists to show the world that how good he is. And
Definitely.
yeah, but he has a question for us. He asks, do you guys think Vinny's having a better season than he had last year?
Okay. Okay, so actually I'm just on BR right now. So like I get my news from BR Bleacher Reporters. And I don't know why, but I am on a tweet that exactly talks about, what Dennis is saying. So
Oh.
there's this guy known as Stefan Bienkowski.
Hmm.
He tweets that it's crazy that Real Madrid made such a good song and dance about trying to sign Kylian Mbappe. They already have a player just like him. His name is Vinicius Junior. This
Hmm.
is after the game against Chelsea.
Yeah.
It was after the game against Chelsea. So that's the thing, honestly, like Vini has stepped up 100%, Dennis. I think he's playing better than he's playing last year. 100%. I think he is playing better than he's playing last year. I think so because and also last year like he had
A dip in form in the mid part of the season.
exactly, yeah, he had that, and also he had I don't know historic Benzema to play alongside because I mean last year's Benzema was a whole different was a whole different level Benzema. Obviously, like I mean that's not going to repeat itself. He had a historic level Benzema to play alongside. So I think this year I think he has come into his own like being the main man. I don't
Hmm.
know if that makes sense, Dennis, but that's the thing. I think he has come into his own right now that he's not looking to find Benzema, but rather he's looking, his teammates are looking to find him. If that makes any sort of sense. So I think Vini is much much more better. Okay, not much, but I think he's stepped up a gear compared to last season, especially at this point.
Yeah, man. I just want to add, last season, if you remember, like the first 5 games of the season or something like that, he was at the top of his game. He was at his peak. Benzema was, I think, he was injured or like missing for a couple of games, and Vini
Yeah.
really stepped up. And I feel like he has hit that exact same gear right now. He's like scoring every other game, and or at least having a couple of assists, uh, and being really productive about it. It's not like he's missing sitters or making bad decisions, because that was one of the things, right? Um, we were bashing Vini, Rodrigo, and Benzema for like taking bad decisions when they were counter-attacking or attacking. And is it unrealistic, Farouk, to expect all of these guys to, always take the right decision?
I mean, it's totally not, honestly, because I personally, if whenever I have the discussion about Vinicius Junior, I always see this like for me, that goal scoring ability is still what he still lacks, in my opinion, honestly, because I feel like there is still a next gear for him. You understand? But I just come to accept the fact that okay, this is an evolution. It's something that's gonna happen bit by bit, gradually. Like not everyone's gonna be Kylian Mbappe all of a sudden at at 20. So it's gonna be something that's gonna happen gradually, and as we can see, which is obvious, the growth of Vinicius Junior has been. I think I can remember even we did during the preseason. We were doing the what we want to see this season is going to happen. And I talked about, the growth of Vinicius with Yedu at the beginning of the season. I think we had that season preview rather. So yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like you can see that the growth is there. So I hope that at least the next step will be, to finish those chances. But the
Mm.
point is, even the best strikers will miss chances after chances. This is just the thing. Like, and we as fans, obviously, we're always, the best managers, the best players, the best strikers, the best. We always think that, oh, why didn't he finish? He could have scored that. It's always gonna be like that. But that's the thing. Like it's not easy to always, to always uh, to always finish those chances. And obviously, it's very unfair of us, and on unrealistic of us to expect them to take every single chance that comes their way because it's not possible. It's not possible. I mean, there is no striker on earth. Even Haaland,
Yeah.
misses chances right and center, because if the striker score all the chances that comes their way, then I mean, they will actually stop counting the number of goals that is being scored, honestly,
Yeah.
because it's not making any sense, honestly. So I think, yeah, it's just, we having too much expectation. So I think expecting the players to finish every single chance is just unrealistic, honestly.
Hmm. Oh, we have Daniel Emmanuel in the comment. He says his decision making has literally made him a better player this season. IMO. Like, do you think his decision making has improved drastically from last season, or has he just?
Definitely, for
Yeah,
sure, 100%. Like his decision making has improved a lot because even you see the way he tries to accelerate and decelerate. I think that's also something very important actually that maybe people take for granted, but that acceleration and deceleration is really really important. And also the way when the ball comes to him, he just holds the play,
yeah,
slowly, like he slows the game down, and all of a sudden in the split second accelerates the game.
yeah.
So
Even Thierry Henry was talking about. He said Vinny Junior's best move is his stop and start.
So that's the thing, honestly, like that way, like he slows the game down and he accelerates all of a sudden, and you can't catch him. This is the thing. So these are things that that might look minute or minor, but these are really, really, improvements at least that I have seen on my side, really. So it's really like I think Vini has grown, and he has grown both as a player, as a man. So that's something that we have to credit, honestly. As I said, like for me, like the one thing that I'm also being unrealistic here is that, but I will hope that across maybe next year, hopefully, like that finishing also will go a level up above, more top notch, and
Yeah,
based on that, we can see how it goes.
yeah. And yeah, I guess that's it with the comments. But for me, it's like the most exciting thing, or like the most biggest takeaway from Carlo Ancelotti's press conference was he was asked about his decision about whether he would stay for next season, and his answer was, "I think we'll be here next season without a doubt, as we'll respect the contract." So from his side, it seems like he's not really like gunning for the Brazil job.
I mean, but this is the most Carlo thing to do. Will he come and tell you that now I'm thinking about taking the Brazil job? I mean, definitely he's not gonna say that. He's gonna say, because I think that's one of the reasons why Perez loves Carlos, Carlo actually, because it's the fact that Carlo will never rock the boat. He will just say whatever is needed to be said. And that's just the thing. So he's not gonna come and say, oh yeah, we will see what's gonna happen at the end of the year. Nah, he's not gonna say that. Obviously, like
Yeah.
that's not the the character that Carlo has, or that character that he has built so far. So yeah, I'm not surprised, and like for me it doesn't change anything. I personally want to see Carlo leave and someone new come in, and hopefully maybe he can go to Brazil and win the World Cup and complete football overly. But it's not about the fact that you don't respect Carlo as much. I just think that it's time for a change, in my opinion, because we're
Mhm.
having a change of guard here. So I think it's right to have a change of guard, honestly, because Carlo is not someone who's going to be here for the next 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know. I just feel like that's not the thing. So, but with the gate change of guard, we should have just the change in the way we play and move on totally, because this old veterans are also going to leave us. Also, I don't know, man. Honestly, well, if there is a chance for Carlo to manage Brazil and have a shot at the World Cup, yeah, sure, why not?
No, for me, it depends on a lot of factors. So let's say either or both of Tony Cruz or Luka Modric leave, along with Ceballos. Like we don't even know about the contract status of Ceballos. If these guys leave, then it's gonna look like a completely new team. And I feel like having Carlo there would stabilize the team a bit more than having a new coach in. But let's see. These are conversations that has to be had when all of these details are clear.
I mean, that's the thing. Like the point is, actually, the point I'm trying to actually, always feel towards is that it's better to have the coaches, with these players while they're still developing, not when they become full, superstars. Because the point is when they become full on superstars, because right now the cabal in our team is almost, shrinking. You
Mm.
know, there's the departure of the likes of the Ronaldos, the Ramoses, the Casemiros, the Varans. The cabal in the team is almost shrinking right now. So that's the thing. Like when, let's say, for example, you have a coach like Thomas Tuchel. He has won the Champions League, similar amount of Champions League that what's he called? uh, Vini has, similar amount of Champions League that Rodrigo has, similar amount of Champions League that Thibaut has, similar amount of Champions League that the likes of Kamavinga has. But the point is, when you bring, let's say, for example, a Julian Nagelsmann,
Mm.
Nagelsmann. I mean, you're 37. These guys have won 5 Champions Leagues. What are you talking about? Like you can't, relate with these guys. It's gonna be difficult, you understand?
Yeah.
So that's why, like, when you're trying to shift that, at least for me, that's what I think. Like when I'm trying to shift that, changing guard, if we can have a coach in place, that will match that change in guard, he can easily come and implement his ideas, and eventually maybe we can develop I don't know, style of play, patterns of play, something like this. But right now, I do understand that at this point in time for this team, Carlo is the best guy. But what I'm saying is that right now we're in the process of a change.
Yeah.
So since we want to change, then let's move away from that kind of person. Because honestly, Carlo was the guy that took come in 2014 after all the chaos of Mourinho. You understand? The team was prime, ready to assault for the UCL. He came, he took the team, hit the great eyes. Zidane came, continued that. You understand? Because that was a prime, ready made team. You understand? So now we need someone to replicate what Mourinho did for us actually in that period of time. Maybe not necessarily win everything, just someone to build a team. And because honestly, for me personally, I credit Sergio Ramos and Pepe's partnership to Mourinho, honestly, because I remember before Mourinho came, Pepe was a red card maniac, man. Honestly, he was just kicking people left, right, and center.
Yeah.
He was very brash and he misses stuff. And Ramos was a fullback. Ramos was a fullback, So that's the thing. So we need that person that's gonna come, build us a team, give the cohesion, obviously without the toxicity of Jose as well. And then
Wait,
okay,
are
maybe
you like hinting towards a Pochettino rival?
I mean, anyone who listens on this pod and have heard me knows that I am a fan of Poch 100%. I mean, Poch arrives, I am in, man. Like that's my prayer has been answered, man.
Yeah.
Poch arrives, that my prayer has been answered, honestly. But I feel like Poch can build a team, but I'm not sure if Poch can win. But as I have said, even Mourinho didn't win the Champions League, you understand? But he built something that you can build upon. You understand? He built something that is ready to win.
Yeah.
You understand? So is he gonna win? I'm not sure. What I know is that he will build. He will. And when people always point to Paris, obviously Paris is a clown club, man. Like don't mention Paris, honestly.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair shot, especially we end up winning the Champions League this season, and then if Carlo decides to leave or something like that, then we don't actually need to go and win the UCL next season for like of course the repeat will be on, but the pressure will be much lesser, and I feel like that's a good shout out for someone a bit younger too who can really set up this team for success later in the future.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly, honestly. So I don't know, man. Let's see, honestly. Well, that's the thing, the team now becomes this like we are such a club that like we wouldn't show that. I don't know the word to put it. Like if Pochettino is an outsider, similar to what happened to Nagelsmann at Bayern Munich, Pochettino is also gonna get sacked. This is the reason why actually I just kind of like pull down on my whole team because Poch is gonna get sacked without actually allowing him to show anything. Similar to what happened to Nagelsmann and Bayern. As long as you're an outsider at Real Madrid or like these traditional clubs, they don't give you the chance. They don't give you the patience. So that's why maybe it's better for Xavi to come back or for Raul to take over. You understand? At least they have some credits in the bank, and because of that, they will be, allowed to, maybe fail or succeed. You understand? But that's the thing. Like right now, similar to what happened to Nagelsmann, I fear that that's something similar that's going to happen to Poch as well.
Well, yeah, this is certainly a controversial opinion because we know that Dennis has always voiced his opinion that Poch is not my manager, just like the Americans say, Trump is not my president. But there's also Danielson in the comments says, nah, I ain't taking no Pochettino in my team.
I mean, well, people will be surprised, honestly. Like, really, people will be because honestly, like I've always said like, if I find a team that plays football, I just go and watch it, man. Honestly, like similar to what Ateta has done this year as well. Back then I used to watch Poch a lot, man, and what he had done at Spurs was outrageous. It was amazing, honestly. Like with the team he had, with the people he built, like they ran more than every single team in the Premier League, every single team.
Yeah.
And obviously they didn't win anything. Yeah, but as I said, like what he built a team. You understand? Then they needed someone to take it to the next level. And this is what I'm saying. So someone to build that team, someone to lay that foundation. Like for me, like I am fine with Poch, honestly. But as I said again, like even as the fans, both Dennis the Great and I think the other one was Dennis Imano, like if I'm not Daniel, sorry,
Daniel Imano.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So like even we can see both of them already are out before even he comes there. They want his head out. So that's why like unless it's one of the real. That's the thing actually, Jacob. Like Real Madrid has no patience for those guys, unless your name is a Jose Mourinho or Jurgen Klopp, unless you're like in that echelon of coaches,
Mm.
they're not just gonna wait for someone who's never won a trophy. It's like unless you're Zidane or Raul or Xabi Alonso or those kind of guys. Those are the only guys they will give chance to, understand. But as soon as we saw that, as soon as what's he called? As soon as Lopetegui came, after 4 months he was gone.
Yeah.
I think less than 4 months, but they didn't consider the fact that we didn't consider the fact that Lopetegui lost Cristiano Ronaldo.
Mm.
This is someone that the team has been built around for how many years? I think for 9 straight years or for 7. I think it was 9 straight years.
9 years.
For 9 straight years, the team has been built around this guy, but then all of a sudden, he is gone, and everyone expected, Lopetegui to come and make. Obviously, I know Ajax was embarrassing, but actually Ajax was against Solari, not Lopetegui.
Mm.
But yeah, I know, some defeats were really bad, but what is and what is not. But I can guarantee if that was a Zidane or if that was a Xabi Alonso, like nothing would have happened to them, honestly. But
Yeah.
that's the thing, like it's as long as you're an outsider, honestly, you don't get that chance. Honestly, you don't get that chance.
I mean, yeah, there is always this discussion happening between fans. Like, do we consider the future or do we consider the now? Because with Real Madrid, both are important, and it's just so hard to get a balance. And like Dennis also says, "Come on, Farooq, this that is Spurs. We are Real Madrid. Do you think we can challenge for the UCL and La Ligas with Poch?" And Danielson also says, I would rather have Raul or Alonso over Poch in the dugout, guys." So that
I
could
mean,
be an
that's
interesting dynamic. What do you think about the possibility of Raul being the assistant manager and Poch just, being the main man?
I mean, nah, man. I don't think they will do that. Actually, these two last comments you read actually from Dennis the Great and Daniel actually just sums up everything I have said.
Yeah.
The fans will give leeway to Alonso and Raul, but they will not take shit from Poch. You understand? That's the thing. That's the thing. You understand? They will not. And as I said, like unless your name is the likes of, because Mourinho lost 5-0 in the Clasico. His first Clasico, he lost 5-0.
Yeah.
Isn't this Sacco Lopetegui after a 4-0 loss? Nah.
Yeah.
What Mourinho built one of the best teams in Europe during his time. It was a time that Mourinho's team didn't win the Champions League, but why he was given chance to build. You understand? I'm saying right now as well, if Poch comes, maybe in the first 6 months, it's not going to be good, but give the man the chance to build something. He can get there, and I think it's going to be good because he has the players there. The Vinis, the Rodrigos, the Militaos, the Valverdes, the Camavingas. They are there. You understand? These are world class players. Honestly, all of them are world class players in their own right. So.
Yeah.
He's gonna be able to do something. Well, that's the point. Like the chance wouldn't even be there. And as I said, like after giving a deep thought, I just even don't want Poch to come because he's just gonna come and my heart is gonna be broken after 4 months. He's gonna be sent away. So there is no point.
There is no point. Yeah. It is a delicate dance to dance. But
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely. That's the thing. Like when it comes to these traditional clubs, especially a club like Real Madrid, like it's so political. That's why, as I said again, like Carlo is the most Real Madrid coach ever. Like if there's ever a coach that was born for coaching Real, it's Carlo.
Yeah.
Honestly, he is the perfect politician. That's why even when he left, like I think even when he left, like even Perez said it, like it's the coach that he regrets sacking the most as well. And even you could hear like with Matisse during the preview of the Chelsea game. I don't know if you listened or not. He was saying like that's the most unfair managerial sacking that he had seen in the whole Abramovich era as well. So that's the thing. Like anywhere Poch goes, like he always leaves that's good vibes, that positive relationships and all that people come back and regret their actions, or like sit there when they think over it, they just regret it. Honestly, like Carlo has had a fantastic career, but I just think for now, I mean, everything has time, man. I mean, we all have to move on eventually. We can just keep romanticizing over something that happened.
Only Fiorentino knows what's coming for the club. We fans can just speculate.
That's true.
Yeah, but Danielson also says, guys, let us not also forget that Zidane is still available in case we need him. He's always welcome at the Bernabeu.
I mean, come on, Daniel. How have you forgotten how Zidane was kicked out of this team, Daniel? I mean, I felt so sad when Zidane left. Actually, when he was in charge. Do you remember, Jacob, that every press conference Zidane was being asked, is he going to be sacked? Is he going to be sacked? Is he going to? And the club didn't even put out a statement to support him. What the hell, man? I mean, no, man. We don't. Nah. I mean, oh yeah. I mean, but then it's Real Madrid, man. Let's not forget how Casillas left the club as well in tears and all that. So, but I mean, that last Zidane's last season, I really felt so bad because I mean, nah, Zidane didn't deserve this, man. Not after all what he had done. He did not deserve this, honestly. Like he was literally under scrutiny every single game.
Mm.
Every single game. He was one loss away from a debate, from a sack, sorry. Every game, that was the report. Every press conference after the game, that was the questions, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, nah. I mean,
Yeah.
they literally almost turned Zidane to Mourinho, man. He was just going there and preaching respect, respect, respect the team, respect us, you know? That's what they turned him into, man. Honestly, like Zidane is a calm person, man, but they
Yeah.
literally, you know, just turned him into that. And I think like the club was unfair to him, in my opinion, in his last season, honestly, before he left. So nah, I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, there's only one scenario that I feel like Zidane is going to come by in the near future. That is if we have a real crisis on our hands. If we are like languishing in mid-table, or that is the only thing where I see Zidane coming in for the next 3 years. Otherwise, we're going to go
Zidane,
for a new one. Yeah,
Zidane, the fire extinguisher.
yeah.
Whenever there's a fire, he's the fireman.
But yeah, I guess that's it for all the news and the comments. You want to get into the lineups? We've been rambling on for a while.
All right, man. Let's do that, man. Like in goal, though, do you want to see a change in goal, like Thibaut getting the rest and maybe you know Lunin, or you rather
Uh,
see Thibaut continue?
I have a bad feeling that Lunin is going to be out this season. I mean, coming next season because he hasn't had a shout or like even a sub XP in any game, even in the Copa del Rey or in the Spanish Super Cup also even. So it's just not looking good for him. And at this point, I don't see a point in giving him any minutes if he's not going to stay. So I feel like that's why like Carlo is also not giving him any shots. But we'll see. There are still 10 games to go in La Liga, but. Maybe not at this moment. We just want to see Thibaut keep his form up, man, because he is gonna probably be busy considering that we're not going to have our main midfield and our main defense. So we probably need Courtois for this game.
That's actually really true. Actually, that's really true. Yeah. I mean, you're right in the sense that like it's been really really bleak for Lunin. Honestly, like he's been so unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, what can we say honestly? Like it is what it is. Like in the whole cup we had quite difficult run-ins. Let's not forget it was Villarreal and then it was Barcelona. So it's been difficult run-ins, and those are top games that you want your best players on, honestly. So I can understand uh why he wasn't chosen to start the game, honestly. But again, it's sad, honestly. Yeah, you're right that you most likely will be leaving at the end of the season, which makes a lot of sense. But it is what it is, that. So let's just move on with Thibaut in goal.
Yeah,
And then what about the centre back parents?
yeah. Alaba probably going to be rested, man. Maybe even Militao. So do you think we'll see Nacho and Rudiger at the center of the park?
Okay.
But the question is like, who's going to play left back? Kamavinga is not going to be rested too, for sure, right?
I think so. I think so, man. I'm not sure, but I think so.
Mm. Maybe,
I
maybe,
think
maybe like Carlos gonna start Nacho in the Stamford Bridge starting out. I'm not sure, but judging from his press conference, he just wanted Kamavinga to continue playing at left back to learn the defensive side of the game. Also, he says it's not because we don't have a left back.
I see what you're saying.
But yeah, who are your picks for the centre backs?
I mean, honestly, I will go with David Alaba, just to allow him to build, because he's been out for a while, so just to continue to build that full fitness.
Hmm.
Honestly, so I will go with David Alaba, honestly, and Rudiger, and play Nacho as a left back, so that
Yeah,
Kama gets the game, because after his worries in the middle of the week, which was phenomenal, honestly, like Kamavinga has been a revelation in the left back position, honestly, like 100%. I don't know if it's possible. I do remember, like in games, you always, when you're playing a football manager, you could train a player to learn a new position.
yeah,
I don't know if there is such a trick in real life, where you just, dedicate a coach to work on a certain player till he becomes full time, a new position, till he learns a new position for full time. If that's a possibility, honestly, I would, it will be sad to see, Kama the midfielder leave, but it's something that I'm willing to, honestly, willing to take, honestly.
Yeah, the most versatile player, like along with the Camavinga, maybe even Nacho or who else? Lucas Vazquez, I would say is Gareth Bale, man. He could play anywhere on the pitch.
Oh yeah, good old days, man.
Yeah.
Good old days. You remember a legend right now, man.
Mm.
Gareth Bale. The man was a monster on his day, man.
Yeah, but so yeah, I guess we're saying it's going to be Lucas Vazquez because Carvajal has to be arrested. Rudiger and Alaba at the center of the park to give
Yeah,
Militao a bit of rest and Nacho to be at left back.
exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah. The midfield is where things could get interesting because we could choose to rest all of our starters who played against Chelsea, and we could instead play a double pivot as we saw in the Villarreal game. So, do you see that
I mean,
double
Chouameni and
Ceballos?
I would say Chouameni and Dani Ceballos, honestly.
Mm.
But then I kind of feel like, that will mean playing, with a number 10. So I would just say, a single pivot and playing, the 4-3-3 as usual.
Mm.
With Chouameni as holding and Dani Ceballos and Luka Modric in midfield.
Modric, wow. But Modric was like the guy who was like pressing Chelsea so much, man. Like, do you think he deserves the rest?
I think he's gonna play, man. I don't think. Or maybe then it's Fede then. Maybe Fede and Ceballos. But honestly, I don't see that
Mm.
too much midfield, rotation.
Yeah,
Maybe then let's say Fede and Dani Ceballos then. Chouameni as the holding. That's I think most likely gonna happen.
yeah,
And then Fede and Dani Ceballos as the two midfielders.
yeah. That's a fair shout. Yeah, I think that's going to be my formation as well. Go for a 4-3-3. Like the double pivot just didn't work against Villarreal. We got overrun in the middle of the park.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, let's go to the forward line then.
Karim Benzema.
Like, yeah. Who else? Rodrigo and Asensio.
Yeah. Rodrigo and Asensio.
But who plays where? Do you think? Yeah. Do you think this is a question to be asked to Carlo as well? If Rodrigo plays on the left and then Asensio plays on the right, do you think we're kind of stopping Rodrigo's growth at right wing if we do that?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, man. Like Rodrigo has always been, a player who drifted into central spaces, when he plays on the right wing already. So I don't necessarily think that hinders his growth, honestly. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily think that hinders his growth, honestly. So I'm fine with that, at least for now. Because the point is, Rodrigo is someone who is also like, not yet nailed on, first team starter yet. He's not a nailed on, in the XI as well. So, whenever there's going to be a shuffle, it's always going to be about him. So, yeah, I'm just, I think that should not be an issue. That should aid his growth, if anything, honestly. That should aid his growth as well, if anything. So I'm kind of fine, with just in the odd game, when Vinny needs a rest, Rico can come in and do a job.
Yeah, man. And we can expect Hazard, maybe even Mariano to come in and then give start us a few minutes of.
Yeah, man. As I said, at the beginning, I'm expecting, if depending on what the game, the temperature of the game looks like, but I'm expecting to see, Hazard come on for Rodrigo and maybe even Mariano for Benzema, towards the end to just, give them some breathing space. And I think especially towards, the end of the game, especially with Mariano and Benzema, maybe after 78 minutes or something like that. Well, I said, maybe I don't know if the game is evenly placed or, we're chasing a ball or something like that. So, Hazard will still come on, but I'm not sure if Mariano will do. And especially as you mentioned earlier, the whole PCT race is still out there, the battle is still on. So, Benzema might want to play as much as he can.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there you have it. We have our lineups. If there's nothing else, let's get into the predictions and wind this up.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
like I just wanted to like one more thing, interesting tidbit that I found. A former Madridist. Did you hear the news about Achraf Hakimi and his wife are getting a divorce, and you know how he got away with not giving his wife half of the earnings? Yeah, that was a legend, man. That's a legendary move. You want to take us through
Honestly.
what happened for?
I mean, I found it interesting and weird. So I don't know, but I just kind of honestly, like, I don't know, like, I'm not a law person or anything, but I just kind of felt suspicious about it, honestly, because it means not just his wife, it means that there is no inheritance his children as well. Then,
I mean,
you know,
as soon as his
I mean,
mother
I
passes,
don't
I'm
know. I
pretty sure
personally
it's gonna
find
come to him. So
I just kind of find it all fishy. Honestly, I don't really know. Like, I mean, everyone does their thing, but like these people might get married and they have marriage contracts and prenups and what is not. But I mean, that was a shocker, honestly. Like he has everything in his mom's name, and I don't know what's that gonna look like. Like what's it gonna look like for his kids as well. Like, is it honestly like I don't have enough information just to make a comment, but it was just a very a really weird one for me. So it looked fishy on my side. So I don't know.
yeah, I feel like this was the craziest story about a former Madridista. Like the craziest I've seen is, of course, Jesse Rodriguez.
Oh,
That man has had a crazy life. Like I heard he got back with his girlfriend. That was like insane. After all of the things that happened, he still got back with his girlfriend.
I mean, I remember reading the article about those guys, and like I was like, okay, like how did even I don't know, man, like such a promising player, man. Honestly, that's why it's important, like who you surround yourself with, with all this, fame and so much money. It's not easy to navigate, all this pitfalls. But then it is what it is, man. What can you say?
Mm. All right, let's get into our predictions. Farooq, what do you think?
I think, I mean, our games against Cadiz has always been a very tight one. Like, I mean, even I just checked earlier, like the last 5 games with Cadiz, like we've won two, drawn two, lost one. And I mean, it was only one of those games that was a comfortable victory, which was a 3-0 victory. So I'm just going to go again with quite a tight game. So I'm just going to go with a 3-1 victory here.
A tight game and a 3-1 victory. Mm.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know, man. Like I feel like we're gonna struggle scoring goals without winning, of course. But maybe Asensio and Rodrigo step it up. And I predict 2 goals from Rodrigo, and I'm gonna say it's a 2-1. We're gonna concede for sure.
2-1. Okay. I mean, 2-1 is fine as well. 2-1 is cool. 2-1 is
Yeah.
cool.
But Dennis and Danielson, they're feeling confident, so they say 2-0 Madrid. Do you see us not conceding with this midfield and defense?
I mean, we because as you said, like the Cadiz scoring is not the something to write home about. Honestly, so it's with the old Alvaro Negredo leading the line, it's it's not looking too promising. Honestly, like it seems like it's all pointing in direction towards a clean sheet. But I
Mm.
told you at the beginning that for some reason we Real Madrid, we try to find a way to come to the level of our opponents or rise to the level of our opponents. So I think we're just gonna go down to their level, and it's gonna be they're gonna score one goal eventually.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. Well, yeah, there you have it, folks. There's like 5 of you still in the chat. So if you haven't already, please do like the video. That will help us a lot. And we are, of course, on the road to 600 subs. So if any of you are new out there, Arpit, you were here before. I'm not sure if you're subbed already. But yeah, any of you are new, please hit the subscribe button. And we're also on all of the audio platforms. So if you just prefer to, listen to us on a long drive or whatever, because our podcasts are long, we know that. Do drop us a like or whatever over there and do subscribe because we are nearing 20,000 plays there, Farooq. That's a huge number. We are super humbled by all of the support you guys have shown us. And we're also on Instagram and all the socials, Twitter. So do subscribe, do follow us over there for cool artwork and football news. And last thing, we have Real Madrid Committee who are our longtime partners. Do check them out as well on Instagram. They have been huge supporters of the show. So yeah, there you have it. Farooq, you know what to say.
A la Madrid.
Hala Madrid.